So if you're thinking about selling, you probably have questions. Let's dig into it. Before I do that, real quick, if you appreciate this information and you want more of this type of knowledge, there is a smart seller book on my front page, or the link to my bio will bring you to that. I will absolutely not know you're downloading my freebie. I think this information is very important. That's why I give it away with no strings attached. So how are showings handled? Well, that's going to completely depend on your situation. You may work from home, or you might homeschool. Maybe you have pets, whatever, but you can specify how many hours, what your situation is before you're going to have showings. So you're going to want to arrange that with your real estate agent. We can black out sections on the calendar, which is really nice. So if you know, like, there's a Saturday, you absolutely can't allow showings, you can certainly say something. So who hosts an open house? Well, anybody from that brokerage will be allowed to hold an open house if you, as the seller, permit it. You certainly don't have to agree to this practice. I know some sellers expect it. So make sure you're having that conversation up front with your real estate agent, so that you're not surprised if they're asking you to host one. I know this is a question I typically ask early on, how people feel about them, but that agent can hold the open house, or anybody at the brokerage. So should the seller or you be present for inspections and the appraisal? And the answer is typically no. You want to take off. And so what I normally tell my clients is leave about 15 minutes before the showing, do 15 minutes afterwards. People can be running late, early, etc. You're trying not to run into these people. You want them to just fully focus on the house and not you and your interaction with that person. That is why we take down personal photos. People get so distracted by your personal items, and certainly bumping into them is going to be very much throw them off. How clean should the house be when you are all said and done? And the expectation is that the floors should be vacuumed, things should be wiped down. A lot of people will think, I want to leave it the way I want it to be left. The problem with the word cleanliness is, like, that's a very subjective term. One person's concept of clean is not another person's. So when in doubt, we leave it cleaner than what we expect it to be, because people can gripe about the condition the house is left. But obviously, like, wipe down the inside of your fridge, the inside of your stove. My rule of thumb is, like, just don't leave them to have anything to complain about. But it doesn't have to be white glove service. You don't need to paint everything. Just, again, make sure you work with your real estate agent, so you're not going up and beyond, but you're also not getting complaints. Because if we're going to pick one of these spectrums, I certainly want you to not get the complaint. So who arranges for everything to get paid off on the loan or liens or anything of that nature? And the answer is the title company. So that's not something that, you have to necessarily do anything with unless they reach out to you. That is a part of the package of closing on the closing day. So if you appreciated this information, I have the Smart Seller book on the link on my front page, iHeartMPLSHomes.com. I will not know you're downloading it. I will not know you're logging in any sort of way. I want this information to get out there because I do think it's so important, and there is so many questions about selling a house. Of course, you can reach out to me directly. My name's Erica. I work the Twin Cities Metro, helping people buy and sell homes all over the Western Metro and the Twin Cities at large.